Oh boy, new season, new anime. After not uploading much in the last one, I'm fully ready for this spring 2023. I wonder what kind of great show waits us in the... How? You already know the good stuff that is airing this season, probably is already watching it, but I got the finest questionable anime that may interest you, my dear viewer. Now let us start with the list. We follow Yuya, a fat and lonely middle schooler who has good morals but due to being weak and quote-unquote ugly, suffers bullying from his classmates, brothers and even his parents hate him. The only kind soul to him was his grandfather who left all his belongings when he passed away, including the house, so his parents and brothers left him alone. The heritage also includes some mysterious artifacts and a strange door that, to his surprise, leads to a fantasy world where he can fight monsters and gain powerful abilities and money. Now he can improve himself using the fantasy one to cheat his way to be prettier and stronger in the real world. I truly like the character design. I will not praise much since it's the first episode, there are even some 3D work that are great. Production wise this show seems to deliver. If they can maintain this consistency for the whole season, I can say that Iselev may already be worth to try. Oh okay, we have game menus, I take that back. The protagonist and the initial plot reminds me of Death March, however he is fat and miserable. Not that the one from Death March version, but you'll get the difference. What I'm saying is that the story is the classic Isekai escapism, however this time we have the dynamic of the main character being able to walk between the fantasy world and the real one. I just like how he became so powerful all of a sudden. Would prefer if he had to grind his levels, and with all that fighting he would get a better appearance and shape. Would at least be more realistic and motivational. But you guessed it, the protagonist gets everything the easy way and with no consequences whatsoever. This is fine trash isekai, not on production. The anime looks amazing, and I like the voice actors, but the plot is what you can already expect. This is one of the blended escapism fantasy I've seen. However, if you want a more interesting story with an art style that goes a bit away from the traditional anime, Bakudo no Attache have you covered, where the protagonist is also constantly bullied by his classmate and is also miserable, but his grandfather also left him a magic object. I told you, the enemies are quite alike. But here's where it differs. He get a star mark on his head, which by the way is like 30 degrees of being something really sussy. However, this mark gives him the magical aura of making delinquent girls fall in love with him. Okay, it's also an escapism fantasy, but it's more unique in some ways. The production is not the greatest, but it's interesting to see how this guy handles his new powers and how it affects his life. This makes the story interesting. However, I wish that he was more aware of his powers. By saying to Rana, a really strong girl that fell in love with him, to not respond if someone attacked her, he basically made her be a punching bag to other delinquents. Even if he feels sorry for that, he is still a bastard who is weak not only in body but in will, and that can be frustrating to watch. If you are a fan of classic anime like Urusei Yatsura with this different art style and more exaggerated characters, this might be your cup of tea. I recommend it. My love story with Yamada-kun at level 999 is adorable. After getting dumped by her boyfriend to another e-girl, Akane decides to release her stress at the same game her boyfriend got her addicted at. That's where she meets Yamada, a pro gamer who is also a content creator. You can tell that by his amazing response time in conversations and his real life social skills. We see how this couple will evolve, or if you prefer, level up, and also how Akane might see that not all gamers are jerks. In anime at least. Note to self here, don't put the gaming content in the background, that might be a red flag. I love Demon Slayer. From the first minutes in the first episode, you can already see the fantastic use of 3D with the animation to make something spectacular. I talked about this in my last video, but Ufotable truly mastered this technique. My only worry is about the Hashira characters. Rengoku was well working in the second season, not the movie, the episodic season. That gave him the time to show us more of the character, and the same goes for Tengen. However, I have the feeling that maybe the Hashira can be repetitive, or at least formulaic. Although they have different reasons to fight, appearances and powers, They all revolve about this one trait that defined them and that can be boring to see. But that's where I expect the villains to shine. We saw the superior demons and they look interesting at first glance. I look forward to Demon Slayer, it's a fantastic show and I truly recommend it. I will not give you spoilers and I will not say anything about this anime. It's better this way. I don't like it, but don't dislike it. I feel like this show is really Japanese. It shows the truth for a culture that I already knew that it was horrible and hated. However, I can't help by hating even more. I got some homework before the anime for you guys. Watch this video of the anime, Joey, interviewing a girl who was an idol. It gives you a good grasp of what awaits you. It's a good video. These are the animes that I'm watching this season and recommend to you guys to give it a try. This season has some bangers, some disappointments. It really reminds me how anime can be so different and better than a lot of other media. Enjoy!